So in this demo, I'm going to be having a look at activity 1. Activity 1 from Network Architecture A, NWAR5122. Activity 1 from part 2. It says perform the following on the server computer. So I need to go into Hyper-V on my remote desktop. I need to have installed a server computer. I click on my server and I open up my server computer. So here you can see that I've got a server computer that is opened on my virtual labs. So I'm going to be performing all of the tasks inside of the server computer that I've already installed. So the first thing I'm going to ask for, let's see, what are the screenshots? So I would have also created a document. Remember, my part 2 document would be give it insert a cover page, insert my student number, my group, my name, the date, etc., table of contents with the page numbers, and then I've got NWAR5122 part 2 1. So this is an old screenshot that I've got here. So I'm going to now go and see what is required of me. Using the following settings given by your lecturer, install the server operating system on the server machine. Okay, the server convention is going to be your name, server, and then whatever it is. So exactly the same convention that you're using for the question below in D, you're going to use for your server as well. So install the server system, install and configure Active Directory. DNS must be added, and then follow best practices. They give us some examples here, and they say don't use exactly the same numbers here. You need to change the number a little bit. So I'll show you how to change that just now. And then screenshots. So you don't need to save all of these screenshots. I'm going to show you which are the required ones. Okay, so required, there you can see that we've got the marking rubric. Adequately installed server operating system on a server virtual machine. Adequately named server machine following best practices of name conventions. So they told us to go and change the name of the server. So I need to change the name of the server, not to server 1, okay? But I'm going to use my first name, initial of my server name, 2016. So how do I go and change my computer's name? If I go into here, I can see that I'm working on my server computer. So on the server computer, I'm going to click on the start, and then I'm going to go to Server Manager. Now, Server Manager is only found inside of the server computer, and it is the main tool that we're going to be using to make changes on the server. So on the left-hand side here, I can see I've got local server. I'll click on local server, and currently you can see that the computer name is some funny name. So I'm going to click on that computer name. It then allows the computer's name here. So I'll click on change, and then I'm going to say it's Suben N, and this is my server 2016. And then I'll say OK. And it says that the computer name is a bit, but so the net BIOS name is limited to 15 characters. I'll say OK. I'll say OK again. And then it's going to ask me to reset or restart. I'm going to restart the server. So the server is starting. Okay, so as I was saying, we have reset the computer now, and then it's going to ask us to log in again. In. So once I've logged in now, I'm going to go back to my server manager. And then open server manager. Go back to the local server. And now I can see on the properties from server manager that the computer name has been changed and it's currently part of a work group. That means that Active Directory has not been installed. Then I can see there's other settings here with regards to Ethernet, net teaming, etc. It's basically the system settings. So the first screenshot that I can take now to show that the server has been successfully installed, they say here, I need to take the following: adequately installed server operating system on a server virtual machine. adequately name server machine following best practices of name conventions. Okay, and then we're going to move into IP addresses. So the first one I need to take is to show that the server operating is installed on the server machine. So does it show me which operating system has been installed here? It says the computer name. It doesn't show me which operating system is installed. If I right click on the start here, and if I go to properties here, okay, now you can see it shows me which is the operating system that is installed. It computer name. So here, if I take a screenshot of this, I can go and open up my snipping tool. I can click on my server, and then I can click on a new snip. And then from here, I can take a screenshot that is showing me. In the screenshot, it shows me the operating system has been installed. It gives me some system information, and it also shows me the computer's name. Okay, so I can then take the screenshot and I can go into my Word document, and I can paste my screenshot here. So the first screenshot is of the computer name and server installation. And a screenshot of the change computer name and of the server installation. So this one here is showing both, right? So I've got a note at the bottom here that says system properties of the server showing computer name in server 2016 and the Windows Server 16 operating system installed. Okay, so that I've got that will give me now, let's see if it answers the question. Adequately installed server operating system on the server virtual machine, adequately named server machine following best practices and name convention. So for these marks here, I've got my screenshot. Then, because it's showing both, screenshot of the change computer name and server installation. What's the next one? Screenshot of my TCP IP. Okay, so how do I get to the screenshot now for my TCP IP settings? I can go here. They said I need to change the IP address, the preferred DNS, and then also the default gateway. And I'm going to get marks for 3 marks for that. So where do I go? I go to my server. In the server, I right click on the server and I go to network connections. From network connections, I right click on Ethernet and then I go to its properties. And on IP version 4, TCP IP version 4, and I go to its properties. Now I will need to set the following IP address. I'm going to use 192.168.10. You can use 10, you can not use 10, you can use 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, etc. right? So choose one of those numbers, and then I'm going to say my server's address is 1. My subnet mask, you'll see it will automatically fill it in for me. And then my default gateway is going to be the same IP address of the server, because the server acts as the default gateway. So again, it will be 192.168.10.1, and your DNS server is also going to be the same, 192.168.10.1. So all of them is the same. And then I'm going to say OK, and then I'm going to say close. So now if I look for what is my IP address information, if I right click here and if I go to the properties, and then so I want to now display what is my computer's properties here. So I'm going to go back now, and I'm going to see, I'm just going to refresh this. Okay, under Ethernet, it's showing me that I've got 192.168 and it's got IP version 6 enabled. In the case study, they said I must disable the IP. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to properties again, and I'm going to take the tick out from IP version 6. Okay, and I'm going to say okay. If I double click on Ethernet, it will show me and I'll click on details, and I can see here that I've got DHCP is currently not enabled. There's my IP address, subnet mask. It's not showing me default gateway, it's showing me DNS. Okay, so let me go back to the properties, IP version 4, properties, and check the gateway is typed in. And now I want to get details. Okay, so it's because it's the same server, it's not using that. So what I'm going to do, let's look at the example that they've given us here. In the example, what did they say for default gateway? Preferred DNS server, default gateway was a different address. Okay, change it around. So the gateway now we're going to make as 2. So I go back here and I go to properties, IP version 4, properties, and I make the default gateway 192.168 10.2. Now, if I look at details, there's it there. Can you see? Right? So this is the screenshot that I would need to take. But now they said I need to include screenshots that has my server's name. So in other words, when I take screenshots, it needs to show the server's name. So where would I go now? So here you can see, if I look at Ethernet properties, I want network connections. Okay. Network connections, I've got Ethernet. And then I'm going to click on details. Okay. So I can see that at the top behind here, I've got my properties for Subain N. So when I take my screenshot now, I'm going to say new, and then I'm going to take a screenshot that includes here. Can you see it's got in the background Subain server, N server is the computer name, and then I can see on this computer there's the properties. Okay, so then I'm going to go back into my Word document and I'm going to paste. All right, and then you will put the details. Screenshot of your TCP IP version 4 settings. Next one, Active Directory has been successfully installed. So how do I do this one now? So I need to go to my server and I need to install Active Directory. So I'm going to close. And from Server Manager, I'm going to click on the dashboard. And from the dashboard, I'll click on Add Roles and Features. And then I will go next. Role-based, that's selected. I go next. My server is there. I'll go next. And then I put a tick in Active Directory Domain Services. When I put a tick in Active Directory Domain Services, it will tell me that I also need to add all of these additional features. Okay, and I'll say add. Then I'll go next. It'll say that it needs this .NET framework. I'll go next. And then it gives information about Azure Active Directory. I'll go next. And then I'll click on install. Right, then this is busy installing now. And then when I look at my server manager and refresh now, so it's still busy installing Active Directory in the background. Okay, so on the top right, I can see there's a feature installation and it says it's been successful. So I'm going to go to roles and features, and I can see there's it here. It is finished successfully. Okay, but there'll be more configuration that needs to be done. So if I click back, you'll see post configuration needs to be done. Promote the server to a domain controller. So then I'm going to click on that. And now it's going to take me through the Active Directory. You are not adding a new domain to an existing forest. We are creating a new forest. So we create a new forest and then you give it a name. Remember, it's your first name, initial of the surname. So that's the name of the domain, .com. So we go next. Then it will ask you for a password. We go next. So it gives you a DNS error. So we go, that's fine. We're going to go next. It gives us the net BIOS name automatically. We go next. It'll tell us where it's going to store the Active Directory database. We'll go next. It gives us a summary. And then we're going to go next. You will notice here, after we click the install, it's going to reboot. So we're going to click install. Okay, so then it's going to reboot the server. I'm going to log in. So you'll see that this process takes a while, but you only have to do it once. And now you'll see it's now asking me to log on to the domain, right? Before I did not have a domain. Now I have a domain here. So then I'll log on with password 1. Okay, so it's logged on now, and I'm going to go to, it's just still rebooting. Okay, you can see here under my server roles, I've got now DNS that has been installed, and I've got ADDS, Active Directory, and DNS has been installed. So I'll go here under the tools, and I can go to Active Directory Administration Center. The other tool that I can use is the Active Directory Users and Computers. Okay, so this is the Active Directory Users and Computers. And this is the Active Directory Admin Center. So in the Admin Center now, I can see that I've got a local domain, and the local domain that has been installed is local domain. Okay, Active Directory Center, local domain. What else can I see here? I can reset password, etc. I can use Active Directory to manage. I can do all of these different tasks using the Admin Center. And here you can see there's manage list options. So I'm going to look at the tool, the other tool that I opened, which is what? Active Directory Users and In Active Directory users and computers now, I'm just going to resize this. I'm going to click on my domain, and then I'm going to click on computers users that have been already created. Okay. Now I'll make this bigger so that it shows me clearly Active Directory users and computers is on subain.subainin.com, right? So it shows my server name, it shows my domain as well in Active Directory users and computers. So what is the screenshot that they want me to take here? If I go, it says adequately promoted and installed server to Active Directory. Adequately configured Active Directory with at least. So I need to show that I have made some changes in Active Directory as well. Let's see what they say in the question paper here. Okay. So all I need to do here is I need to just take a screenshot of Active Directory with all of my settings. That's already configured for me. And I need to do the same thing with DNS. So then I'm going to go back, and I can see here that I've got Active Directory users and computers, my server name. It's the subainin.com domain. And I click on the users. There's users that have been created already. Okay. These are your built-in users. So then I will take a screenshot to prove that Active Directory has been successfully installed. So I'll go to my snipping tool, click on new, and a picture of Active Directory users and computers. And then I'm going to add that now. Here. Okay. So Subain domain, there's Active Directory users and computers showing my full computer name, etc. Then DNS. I need to show that DNS has been installed and configured correctly. So I'm going to go now, screenshot. So 4 would be this one here needs to be DNS. Where do I go for DNS now? Here as well, I click on tools and I go and I look for DNS. Okay. So DNS, it's going to open up a DNS console for me. This is called DNS Manager. So in DNS Manager now, I'm going to click on the server that's there. I'm going to click on the zones, and I'm going to click on the subain-in domain, and I'm going to make this bigger so that it can show me all the information that's required to show that the domain has been correctly configured, right? So then I clicked on subain-in, I clicked on my domain, I just clicked on my domain. That's good enough because it shows me my DNS records here, okay? Host name records. That's all that I need for now. So I will then take a screenshot of manager with all of this information that's configured. So I go to my snipping tool, click on new, and then click on DNS manager, and then click on the information or select the information that I want to include in my screenshot. Go back into my document, paste the screenshot, and then write out a description. So DNS installed. On server, Subin server. (2016) and then showing DNS records. Right, that's the next screenshot that I need to take. Let me go back and have a look. So DNS is added, it's named correctly, and then DNS configuration, right? Provide all the required screenshots. Screenshot shows the server name, etc. Okay. So for this question now, I can see that I would just need to explain a little bit more about what settings have been configured. In other words, I need to explain these pictures, these screenshots. So there's just 4 screenshots that is required for it. There's the screenshot of the server showing the operating system that's installed, showing the computer name. Okay. Then the next one is screenshot of your TCP IP version 4 settings, showing that is the server name there, and then your properties have been set to the correct IP addresses. Okay. So you will write that in the description below, and then a screenshot of Active Directory successfully installed. So you'll explain a little bit more about in this screenshot here. So the screenshot shows Active Directory has been installed, but then also they wanted us to explain a bit more detail about what settings have been configured here. You'll do exactly the same for what settings have been configured on DNS. And that is activity 1 from part 2 of your network architecture POE.